Well, good evening, everyone. Good evening. It's the pastor here. See if I can get some folks tagged up right quick. This is the 2021 State of the North Charleston Democrats address. And I'm going to get some folks tagged up. I don't have any background music and all that tonight. It's about business. I'm going to tag some folks up before we get into this. I'm getting ready to actually start the Zoom too. So that way we can begin to load some people in, some folks on board. Y'all please tag folks and share this out. Yep. It's going to be interesting this evening. All righty. Okay, all righty. I think I'm going to stop right there. All righty. Yeah, I think I'm going to stop right there. Yeah, please share this out. Other folks so other folks can join in. This is the 2021 State of the North Charleston Democrats address.
Recording in progress.
Okay, all righty. Let's see if we can get this. Y'all know I'm a little technologically challenged, but we can get this going. We're going to get this going shortly. Very much so. I hope everybody's having a wonderful Sunday. Thank you all for joining in and participating. Let's see. Start my video. Admit Brooke. Okay. As we are beginning to build, folks. All righty. I'm a little shiny. That's all right. That's all right. Yeah. Let's see. Admit. Okay. Okay. All right, so if we just, give a couple of minutes here, get some more people on. Thank you all that have joined on already, jumped in already. This is going to be a very important conversation tonight about North Area Democrats and the work that was done last year, 2021. This broadcast tonight is somewhat in the same vein as would be the State of the Union address or the State of the City address, where we have an explanation of the events of the previous year, bringing clarity to what happened in the previous year so we could begin to build on moving forward into the next year. Given about 5 more minutes and we'll get started. Any questions, if you'd like to leave them in the chat or post them on the Facebook live, that would be great. Because it's live streaming on Facebook Live also right now, and I'll get back to them soon. Let me just make sure that I file a somewhat a disclaimer on this. Okay, this is not an official Charleston County Democratic Party announcement. This is not an official North Area Democratic Club forum. This is me presenting what I know of what happened last year as we begin to move forward into 2022. I would say in a year that is crucial, But unfortunately, every year that we have delayed our moving forward, our organizing efforts, our coming together in order to build the North Charleston Democratic Club or machine, whatever you want to call it, every year that we've delayed it, it's cost the people. And it's time for us to stop allowing the people to be co-opted into personal agendas, into what other people think is supposed to be going on. It's time now for us as Dems to operate in unison so that we can begin to win. My motivation for this is really simple. Many of you all know me well enough to know that I live to promote and to protect and to stand as a guardian for the people. And I'm not going to allow anything to deter the goodwill of the people from coming forth. So I felt it necessary to have this live tonight as we turn the corner into 2022, clarifying some things from 2021 concerning the North Area Democrats. Again, this is not a Charleston County Democratic Party event or even a North Area Democratic Club event. But it is an event where I'm going to tell the truth. And that's the bottom line. I'm going to tell the truth about things that happened last year in order for us to clear the air and move forward into this next year. So, with all of that being said, I'm just going to ask everybody to please don't be surprised at anything that you hear. And know that for me personally, I've tried my best to work these situations out without having to go through any exorbitant changes or whatever. But it comes a point where I'm just not going to allow the truth to be compromised. I'm not going to allow the goodwill of the people to be compromised. I'm not going to allow anybody whatsoever to subvert the power that we possess as a voting bloc, as a people, and as a people who share ideals that are all about taking care of the people. So I felt it necessary to talk about or to deliver the state of the North Area Democrats for 2021. And that's why we're here tonight. Thank you all, one and all, for coming on board. I am Pastor Dixon, the chair of the North Area Democratic Club, and I will close in my explanation of that also tonight. But looking back at 2021 and the work that was done with the North Area Democrats during that 12-month period from January 1st until December 31st, there were some high points and there were some low points. Started off in January with the executive committee in place. Smarrell Brown was the chair of the North Area Dems. Her co-chair was Kristen Rainey, and vice chair was Stephanie Ganaway Paisley. And the community outreach coordinator was Mr. Ramon Roan. Those by election in September of 2020. So they had been in office at that point, September, October, November, 4 months, 5 months actually by the end of January, when the chair, Smarrell Brown, decided to leave her position for whatever reason. One of the things that we do is that with these clubs, we default, if we don't have bylaws in place, and there haven't been any bylaws in place with the North Area Dems, we default back to the state party bylaws and the county party bylaws in making decisions. So when the chair stepped away from her position as chair, according to South Carolina Democratic Party rules, page 13, section 5(3), concerning precincts and paragraph 1, it says, in the absence of the president, the precinct first vice president shall assume the duties of the president. That's what's stated in the South Carolina Democratic Party rules. And by default, having no bylaws in place with the North Area Dems, that meant that the vice chair was supposed to take over that position. Unfortunately, from January 21st, 2021, when Smarrell Brown left, until April 28th, there was absolutely no conversation, no email letters, no communication. There was nothing shared with the North Area Democrats about what the North Area Democratic Club was doing. Basically, no one that was elected to the leadership role stepped up to be a leader at that time for that 4-month period. There were no meetings done. There were no agendas, no nothing. January 28th, no meeting. February 25th, no meeting. March 25th, no meeting. April 22nd, no meeting. And it was around that time in April when I was contacted by it. Well, I had a conversation with Charleston County Chair Greg Perry about the state of the North Area Democrats. And we had a mutual understanding. I decided, okay, then if the club will have me as chair, I will step up and take over that position, which was well received by everyone. At least I thought. That was the 28th of April is when at the meeting where it was announced that I would be the interim chair. And that, as a matter of fact, that April 28th meeting was the first meeting official meeting that the North Area Dems had in 2021, the first meeting. Now, there had to be a special election called, and that special election was announced. Well, May 27th was when the announcement took place that I would be the interim chair. And the actual election itself went down on June 24th, where I was unanimously selected or elected as chairman of the North Area Democratic Club. And I went to work. Exactly what I said I was going to do. I went to work. Immediately following that meeting, where there was a lot of questions about bylaws for the North Area Democratic Clubs, I went about starting to draft these bylaws, okay? Not saying that my draft would be a final decision. Of course, that would be something that needed to be voted on. But having not had any participation from anywhere else prior to that in the North Area Democratic Executive Committee, I did what I had to do in order to make it happen. I finished the first draft of those bylaws in July. But after that, what happened after being installed as chair in June 24th of 2021? Well, that 2 days later, coordinating with our precinct coordinator, Joe Kelly, with the Charleston County Dems, we had our canvass of North Charleston Precincts 7 and 28. That one got postponed actually due to weather and was moved from June 26th. It was moved to July 17th. Canvass of Precincts 7 and 28 in North Charleston. Of the executive committee that was in place, elected September 2020, was in place in January when Smarrell Brown walked away. That executive committee, no one of them showed up for this canvass. On the 17th of July, I emailed the bylaws to Stephanie Ganaway Paisley, to Chris Rainey, and Greg Perry, the chair of the North Area Dems, for input from them. I heard absolutely nothing. I sent it to Greg Perry as a matter of formality. But I heard absolutely nothing from Ganaway Paisley until 39 days later. 39 days later. That's when I finally heard a word from her. I still hadn't heard anything from Chris Rainey about the bylaws. But these are things that needed to be done. They actually could have and should have worked on these bylaws that needed to be put in place in September of 2020. From then on until long before I got there. I shouldn't have even had to step in and do that because the executive committee should have done it all along. But I see now, though, that, you know, as things arise that are contrary to the Honorable former Judge Ganaway Paisley, that are contrary to her, she has no problem responding promptly. Like today, saying that this personal address, this is my Zoom account, my MailChimp account, my Eventbrite account. This has nothing to do with the connection to the North Area Democratic Club or the county or state party. She has no problem responding promptly, though. He can't do that. He can't do that. Well, this is legitimate, and this is my First Amendment right to do so. So back to what I was talking about. Now, that wasn't the only canvas we had. We had two canvases actually in the Hispanic community in August. August 21st was the first one. During that time, I received a call from both Stephanie Ganaway Paisley and Chris Rainey talking about teamwork, saying, don't try to do it all yourself. And I'm like, no, I don't want to do it all myself. I want you to get involved. Of course, they've already missed one opportunity to canvass in the community. They haven't contributed on the bylaws as I asked them to do, just for input. Chris, he said, if we're not going to be getting things done, I'm not in. Well, here I am trying to get things done, and they're missing in action. Unfortunately, I hadn't heard it. I still, to this day, haven't heard anything from this guy, Ramon Roan. On August 24th, I heard from Ganaway Paisley on the bylaws, 39 days after seeking input, just to say that I can't move forward without the executive committee discussing the bylaws. And I still hadn't heard from Rainey. At that point, though, Stephanie Ganaway Paisley expressed dissatisfaction about the bylaws being presented because I had shared with others, a couple of other people who I knew were knowledgeable, to read over the bylaws. Let me know if it's anything I need to make changes in this rough draft, okay? This rough draft that eventually would go to executive committee, that would eventually go to the voting block of the North Area Democratic Club for approval. But I guess she had a problem with that. Shouldn't be sharing them, this, that, but she still hadn't responded when I asked her about it 39 days later. 5.5 weeks and not a word back about it. So, I mean, for that, I would just wonder, okay, where are the agendas for the meetings from January until May when I took over? Where there was a big problem about that, about agendas not being out and whatever. And I'll admit that I wasn't necessarily following that Robert's Rules of Order to the letter or whatever. I was more concerned with trying to get this thing moving. And we were moving. The momentum was gathering. We were doing things in the North area as the Democratic Club, and more people were getting involved. But every meeting, it seemed like there was this back and forth with the same person, because Chris Rainey wasn't there at the meetings, you know, always. And it was always about Robert's Rules of Order. I'm just going to be honest. Robert's Rules of Order, Robert's Rules of Order, Robert's Rules of Order. And I'm saying, where are you at when we're out here knocking on doors, canvassing? Where are you at when we're putting these other things together? Why aren't you promoting what we're doing to the public? On her social media, there's nothing about the North Area Dems. Nothing. So, and I want to be very mindful of all of your time. But all of these things that she had an issue with me about, apparently they weren't important from January until May when I took over as chair, because they didn't even meet. No movement whatsoever. So back to it. August 26th, we had our monthly North Area Democratic Club meeting with that same back and forth. On August 27th, the next day, the Charleston County Dems had movie night in Ferndale. No Stephanie Ganaway Paisley, no Chris Rainey, no Ramon Roan. Ramon Roan is the community outreach coordinator. Okay, let me just get that straight. He's the community outreach coordinator and didn't show up for anything that we did in the community outreach. Okay. There was movie night in Ferndale, August 27th. August 28th was the second canvas for the Meet the Representatives event. Well, we brought more of our state representatives and elected officials, city council members, county council members together at one time in North Charleston, something that hasn't been done in years. And the outreach was to the Hispanic community, something that hasn't been done for years. And guess who wasn't there? Even for that. For the canvas or for the outreach. The outreach one was the next day, August 29th. No call, no show. But again, these are the leadership. These are the executive committee members. So after all that back and forth with Ganaway Paisley and with some other personal things that were going on in my life at that particular time, I decided in September to take a leave of absence until January of 2022. Now, there's nothing to say that I couldn't do that, okay? And I decided to turn over the leadership of the North Area Democratic Club to the vice chair, who is Stephanie Ganaway Paisley, and to Chris Rainey, who is actually co-chair. With the sincere hope, and I want you to hear my heart, with the sincere hope that they would continue to organize and build on the momentum that we had started among the North Area Dems until my return this month. But from September until December 31st, there was absolutely no movement. They had a meeting or two about the bylaws. I think the bylaw committee met a couple of times, which that was basically, there was one person that I know who wasn't part of their group. Bylaws that are still not in place, okay? And maybe one North Area Democratic Club meeting in that time, okay? So when I left, let me read over my letter that I sent out to not only Stephanie, but to Greg Perry, okay, and to Chris Rainey. This was September 22nd. I said, good day. Due to the recent controversies and allegations/attacks brought against me concerning my leadership style as the recently elected chairman of the North Area Democratic Club, and because of a recent increase in personal issues requiring my direct and immediate attention, I've decided to take a 3-month leave of absence from the position of chairman of the North Area Democratic Club until January 2022, effective immediately. In my absence, effective immediately, I respectfully request that the Honorable Stephanie Ganaway Paisley, Vice Chair of the North Area Democratic Club, will assume the position of Chairperson of the North Area Democratic Club and its associated responsibilities until the return of the elected Chair, Thomas Dixon, and this in accordance with SCDP Section 4, Subsection 5, resignation or vacation of position by state party officers. Note, okay, this was not a resignation. You didn't hear me state in there at any point that I was resigning. I said this is a leave of absence, okay? And I finished saying by also having authored the unratified draft of the NADC, the North Area Democratic Club bylaws, submitted by North Area Democratic Club Chair Thomas Dixon for edit on July 17th, 2020, I will make myself available to assist in the editing process and to answer questions as discussed during our meeting on Wednesday, September 15th. Thank you for your time, etc., etc., etc. Well, not long ago, after that, during a meeting that followed that, the monthly meeting followed that, I was informed quite abruptly in the middle of the meeting that the executive committee had voted to not accept my leave of absence, but to interpret it as a letter of resignation. They interpreted my leave of absence as a letter of resignation. I don't understand how anybody does that, but they did it, and it was said vocally. I think there are witnesses on here right now who were at that meeting who can verify that this was exactly what was said. And I was not allowed to say anything until finally, at close to the end of it, I expressed my opposition. You know, they were recording that meeting. I expressed my opposition to that very briefly, just to say that I don't agree with how you interpreted my letter, and that I don't agree with that decision. But basically, they said that you are no longer the chair, and we accept your leave of absence letter as a letter of resignation. Let me read for you, okay, what was sent to me. All right, this was a later draft. Although they addressed it publicly at that meeting. Here's the later draft. The later draft says, to Mr. Thomas Dixon, you are hereby notified that the North Area Democratic Club Executive Committee, I asked who the executive committee was, and the answer that I did get was that it was Stephanie Ganaway Paisley, Chris Rainey, and also Ramon Roan. That's the executive committee, okay? The executive committee has met and unanimously voted to accept your leave of absence notice as a resignation from position as chairman of the club, effective as of September 27th, 2021. I didn't make this up, and it's signed by Stephanie Ganaway Paisley, first vice chair, acting chair. Now, if there's a big thing about bylaws, I'm trying to figure out where that's in the bylaw. That is nowhere in the bylaws as far as removal of someone from a position or anything. There is a process in the bylaws about that. I say again, the executive committee has met and unanimously voted to accept your leave of absence notice as a resignation from the position. Can't make this up, folks. You can't make this up. There's nothing in the state party bylaws because, as I said, the North Area Democratic Club bylaws are still not ratified. Something that I wanted to have done months ago and had started the work on, but the work got subverted by these folks here that's got more time worried about me and what I'm doing than they are the people in our community and building our party and the platform in order to win in 2022 and moving forward. It makes no sense. There's nothing in the state party bylaws to justify this action. So I'm hereby announcing my return as the chairman of the North Area Democratic Club. And if anyone has an objection to that, no matter who it is, they can actually send their comments and their complaints to the Charleston County Party Chair, or even to Trav Robertson, the State Party Chair, who's aware of what I'm doing right now also. Both of them, they all know. Also, the South Carolina Democratic Party Black Caucus Chair knows what I'm doing right now. Why? Because we're working with something that's counterproductive to where we can get to as a people. And we cannot allow that to happen. Now, as I grow very close to closing in this, I want to bring out a problematic situation within the executive committee that voted in order to accept my leave of absence as a letter of resignation. There's one member of that group, the executive committee, this guy, Ramon Roan, right? This guy Ramon Roan. This guy Ramon Roan is not a Dem. Okay, he's not a Democrat. Maybe that's why he don't show up for community outreach things, and he's the community outreach coordinator. I went to his social media page. And this stuff might still be there. You can look for yourself. Somebody made a comment there. Ramon responded, "I don't have a political party." Okay. Then he talks about Joe Biden. There was a good reason why Biden failed in his 2 previous attempts to get nomination. The Democratic nomination. Okay. Let's see. Ramon Roan, he's talking about posting a quote from Malcolm X on his Facebook page. He said, "Democrats are playing you for a political chump. And if you vote for them, not only are you a chump, you are a traitor to your race." Quoting Malcolm X on his Facebook page. Now, I didn't make this stuff up. This dude is the outreach coordinator for the North Area Dems, the same dude that voted to accept my leave of absence as a letter of resignation. Oh, and he just happens to be, I believe, one of the campaign managers for the John Singletary camp. Okay. Let's see, what about this one? Talking about the border wall. You know that we're against them walls, right? Donald Trump's building the wall and all of that. Yeah, people who don't want a border wall, drug cartels, sex traffickers, smugglers, MS-13 rapists, Democrats. I'm not making this up, folks. The stuff is on his social media page. He posted on his page. This is the community outreach coordinator. "The people forcing socialist policies on us today also force segregationist policies on our parents." Now, let's get it straight. I don't care nothing about what he believes, okay? But I do have a problem with fake Democrats. I definitely do, okay? Somebody else commented on his page. They identified his standpoint, and they commented to him this way: "You and your ideologies leaning extremely right-wing." Extremely right-wing? Hey, we the left, we the party of the left wing. I think we are, you know. So, and I have more. And all of this, of course, it's his business. Calling yourself a Christian and voting for sodomites and baby killers still makes you accountable on your day of judgment. Sounds like Republican rhetoric to me any way it goes, okay? And of course, once again, he's entitled to his own position. But this is the same person that's sitting on this executive committee as our community outreach coordinator. And what makes anybody think that this Republican-minded person is getting ready to mobilize and organize Democratic voters? It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. So whatever it's going to take moving forward as I come to a close, in order to get this right, if the former judge Ganaway Paisley or Chris Rainey or Ramon Roan wants to challenge my return to the North Area Democratic Party, North Area Democratic Club chair, then I think that the people should decide. I think that the North Area Democrats should decide. Be it by special election, I'm good with that, or whatever way they want to. But it's that kind of attitude, it's that kind of negative influence and lack of ability to move the North Area Democrats forward that we don't need anymore. That's why we stay behind the 8 ball. That's why we don't get a win in the city, in the city mayor's office or in the council. That's exactly why. It's that old school philosophy, politics, playing games with people while we suffer. Instead of them getting out in the community and rallying the people, getting the people fired up and ready to go about getting to the polls, registering voters, educating voters on the necessity of voting in every election. These people are worried about Dixon. And now, out of 12 months in 2021, 8 months they've done absolutely nothing. And my friends, that's not acceptable. And I think most of y'all know me well enough to know that I'm not going to let that happen. Now, I'm one that goes along with the people. If the people decide that I need to step back or step down, I'll gladly do so. It ain't like I don't have other things to do. Y'all know me well enough to know I got 1,000 other things that I could be doing right now. But if it's time for them to move on, well and good. I have a secretary that's already not only qualified, but willing to move into that position. And if there's a special election needed in order to fill the vice chair positions or other positions, then we can do that also. But whatever it is, today being the 9th day of the year, we don't have the luxury of waiting any longer to mobilize. I hated that I had to walk away when I did in September, but I had to in order to prove that those who don't have the best interest of the people at heart, to prove that they don't have that best interest. And for 4 more months, they did absolutely nothing. The only activity we had in 2021 was during the months of June until September. That was it. And these people were elected to that position. So I'm going to end with that. There are some other things that I could cover, but with respect to everyone's time, I just want to say I appreciate you all so much. And I'll be meeting in the next 2 weeks or so with the precinct coordinator in order to begin to map out a plan in order for us to mobilize and maximize the voters, Democratic voters in North Charleston in order for us to win. Now is the time. We are the people. And I'm not going to let anybody keep us from being successful because they want to play personal games and have their own agendas. That dog ain't going to hunt. This is Pastor Dixon. I don't bully easy. So when that email went out earlier today, I responded. I don't bully easy. And I think that's what it's going to take. I mean, I've had calls back in June and July after moving into that spot from people that said, man, this is exactly what we need, you in this spot. Moving in there, the North Area Dems started getting email blasts that they were never getting. Updates on what was going on, community activities, things going on, outreach to the Hispanic community, the Latino community, our brown brothers and sisters. That's not happened. Has never happened. And we're going to resume that operation after I meet with Joe Kelly, who's on right now, I believe, when I meet with him in a couple of weeks. We're going to resume that operation, move forward, and move anybody and everybody that's in the way out of the way, because you're not going to jeopardize our voting block in North Charleston, a block where we actually have the ability to win if we organize and if we mobilize. So I appreciate everybody for getting on, for staying on so long. I'm not sure exactly how long I've been, but I really want to tell you all thank you so very much. Oh, I'm still on time already. Thank you all so very much. If you got any questions or whatever, please inbox me. My cell phone numbers is on all of my Facebook pages. You call me if you got questions. But it's time, folks. If you know folks who are not tied up with the North Area Dems, please let them know it's time. We need everybody involved. There's so many things I'll be outlining in the next few days. I might not wait until the next North Area Democratic Club meeting, which we meet on the third Thursday of every month. I might not wait until then. I have some things on the table right now. We're going to need some committees formed. We're going to need boots on the ground, street people, workers out here in this community. Listen, it's time, folks. It's time. We cannot settle for second best any longer. Not when we control the vote in the North area. It doesn't make sense to me. And until it makes sense, until somebody can make it make sense operating like this, then I got to fight. And I'm asking for each and every one of you to stand with me as I fight, as we move forward, and as the voting bloc in North Charleston, the Democratic voting bloc in North Charleston, as we maximize the turnout and the vote in order to get people who share our democratic values, not any fake Republicans, that share our democratic values in office. This is the pastor. Man, I love you all. And I'll close with my usual sign off. There's absolutely nothing you can do about it. I love the people I talked about tonight because I hope that they would have done better. But instead, they chose to wallow in that same mess they've been in. So God bless them. Still love them. They still have an opportunity to change around, but not in the seats that they're occupying right now. It's time for them to go. I'm sorry. Okay? And if you're with me, give Greg Perry a call. If you're against that, give Greg Perry a call. Okay, Greg gonna be mad at me. Listen, I hope you all have a wonderful evening. Somebody give me a shout out. Let me know everything is all right, okay? I'll be sending out an email blast over the next couple of days or so. This one, when I send this next one, after this, the state of the North Area Democrats 2021 address, from here on, when I send out email blasts, it's going to have the letterhead from the North Area Dems on it, and contrary to what Miss Paisley, Ganaway Paisley said, I couldn't use any. You can't use any logos or whatever from the North Area Dems. I don't. She ain't got a bylaw to stand on, so, or a legal law to stand on that. So I don't bully easy. Y'all take care, man. I love you all. All of the faces that are on here, thank you all so much. You all encourage my heart and my soul, and change is coming. Yes, change is coming. Let's go blue in 22. Y'all take care. Peace. Thank you all so much for spending the time with me this evening. I really appreciate it. This was not anything that I wanted to do or I feel comfortable doing. But we have some people who think that they can bully their way on through, and I don't bully easy. I don't care who it is. I don't care who it is. You know, and it's sad that that we have to go through these changes. But in order to clean house, if I'm the one that's got to sweep, I'm going to sweep. I'll take up the broom. Y'all know that. Y'all know that. And I got some of my brothers, the OGs and sisters, the OGs from the streets on this live too. So understand who I'm talking about, okay? I'm talking about a camp that is going to ask for your vote for mayor. Now, if you want somebody with that lacks moral fiber and character as your mayor, you might as well re-elect Mayor Summey. I said it. I said it. Who I kind of like the mayor after all these years and carrying on, but that don't make him right. And I love him too. That don't make him right. So we see the pattern of those who I've talked about tonight. We have a glimpse into the character of those who I've talked about tonight. We can look at the evidence from 2021 and the answer of the evidence of a fake Democrat and decide who we gonna roll with moving forward. If y'all roll with me, only way I roll is with the people. I deal with truth, honesty, integrity, and ethics. And anybody that ain't on that level, I ain't got no time for. So I ain't got no time for none of those folk I just talked about. Listen, y'all take care, man. I love you all, Facebook family. Y'all take care. God bless you. Share this thing out as far and as wide as you can. Y'all take care. God bless. Peace.